On January 15, 2015, I had the privilege of flying on the HB Junkers 52. This airplane was built in 1936 and during World War II, 1939 to 1945, HB wasn't used for fighting. Instead, it helped carry important cargo and people around Switzerland. After the war, HB continued its service, carrying passengers and cargo for different airlines in Switzerland. As newer, faster airplanes were built, HB eventually retired from regular service in the 1980s, but HB wasn't done yet. In 2002, a special Swiss airline called Juair decided to give it a new life. When I flew on this airplane in 2015, it was operated by this Swiss airline for sightseeing flights on vintage aircraft. I was very excited to fly in an airplane I just saw on movies, but also I was a little bit worried because of the age of the airplane and the area where we were flying, high terrain over the Alps. At that time I had around 7,000 flight hours as a pilot, and this is more than enough to know the risks, but I trusted a Swiss company. We departed from Dubendorf airfield, not far from the city of Zurich. Soon we flew into a valley and immediately I started to think about wake turbulence, performance, etc. But the pilots seemed to have done it almost every day. I was really enjoying the flight and thinking this is how it was flying almost 80 years ago. The views were amazing, and at the end of one valley we climbed and passed the peak of a mountain where there were some ski slopes. We could see the people skiing as we were barely 1,000 feet over them. We descended and came back to Dubendorf, where we landed safely. Please enjoy the landing of this historical plane. I took these pictures and videos with my old phone. I never thought just 3 years later, on the August 4th, 2018, this exact same airplane HB doing a similar flight was going to crash, killing all people on board. The airplane crashed near Pis-Segnes, Switzerland, while en route from Locarno to Dubendorf. All 20 people on board were killed. It was the first fatal crash of a Juair aircraft since the company began operations in 1982. The cause of the crash was investigated jointly by the Swiss Transportation Safety Investigation Board, STSB. The aircraft was flying from Locarno Airport to Dubendorf Air Base, on the return leg of a 2-day trip. The weather was unseasonably warm with choppy winds. At 16:56 local time on August 4th, on the day of the crash, the Junkers was piloted by 2 veteran captains, aged 62 and 63. Both had extensive experience as pilots for Swissair, Swiss and Edelweiss, as well as more than 30 years of militia service with the Swiss Air Force. Swiss authorities stated that the plane appeared to have crashed almost vertically and at high speed. A witness at nearby Segnes Pass saw the Junkers approaching from the south and fly by the Martins Loch, a distinctive 18-meter wide, 60 feet, breakthrough, or hole, in the Tschingelhorner mountain ridge, next to the pass. Then, instead of flying over the ridge, the aircraft made a sharp turn, dived vertically and crashed onto the plateau below. Around 10 minutes before the crash, another witness had observed the Ju-52 suddenly banking sharply to the left and losing altitude, before increasing engine power and recovering to normal flight. The aircraft was carrying 3 crew and 17 passengers. 17 were Swiss citizens, and while 3 were an Austrian couple and their son. The final STSB report on the accident, released on January 28, 2021, indicated that the accident was caused by the 2 highly experienced pilots flying recklessly, disregarding regulations, failing to anticipate expected turbulence, and failing to control the aircraft to prevent it from stalling and spinning into the ground. The report also found that the aircraft was not airworthy at the time of flight, in that the engines were not producing their minimum rated power and that the company had a deficient safety culture of rule breaking. Following a review in March 2019, while the accident investigation was still ongoing, the FOCA banned Ju-Air from conducting commercial passenger flights with Ju-52s, allowing only private flights for club members. Later, the operating and maintenance licenses were revoked for the other Swiss-based Ju-52 aircraft, effectively grounding the HBHOP and HBHOS sister aircraft. FOCA deemed them unsafe to fly due to the maintenance issues found in the HB-hot wreck, such as fatigue cracks, corrosion and substandard repair work. It is such a coincidence that one of the factors that contributed to the accident of an airplane registered HB-hot was heat wave in Europe, as heat reduces an aircraft's climb performance. I feel so fortunate to have the chance of flying on this bird and survived, but I also feel very sad for all the 20 people who perish on that day, and I would like to dedicate this video to all of them. If you like this video, please click like and subscribe.